ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.
190. How you feeling, RCB? How you feeling, Punjab Kings fans? Just one innings to go before the IPL Championship is decided. Who's feeling better at halftime in the final? We find out on Nexa Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Tom, Varun, Dustin, let's take it away. 190. Who holds the advantage, Tom?
Well, there's two parts to this answer. RCB, because they got the runs on the board. But I think if you look at it from a par score, I think they're about 10, 15 short of what they should be.
Varun.
I would say 10 short. I would agree with Tom there, but it's a good final score. This is somewhere around where you want it to be, where both teams have a sniff at it, and neither of them are feeling that they're out of it, but they're still somewhere and around. So it's a great finals game. I think it's setting us up for a cracker of a game.
This is where you have a lot of historical data, but do you apply the element that's not quantifiable, pressure of a final?
Yeah, I mean, I think RCB will be happy to get where they are after they were 131 in 14.5. So they've had a decent last 5 overs. But overall, I mean, it feels like it's just below par for this pitch, right?
10, 15 runs, nothing more than that. But
what is this pitch like?
This pitch is sticking a little bit. If you see the cutters, anything back of line, just like last game, I thought Punjab really summed up the conditions well soon and changed their plans according to the conditions, which they did really well last game as well. RCB will just have to follow suit and do something similar and not do what Mumbai did last game. That is bowl too full. Yeah,
we got the impression that it got easier to bat, but there was also Mumbai had such a big role to play in that. Will the pitch stay the same, and how would you describe it? Is it a flat pitch?
I wouldn't say it's a flat pitch, but I don't think there's any demons in there either. I think it's one of those surfaces from a batting perspective. Once you give yourself a handful of balls, you should be able to make the adjustments required with your tempo of how you try to find boundaries. And to me, that sort of 10-15 runs that we're talking about, to me, was the Kohli-Agarwal partnership, as far as I can see it. 38 runs, 28 balls, percentage of those balls in the power play. I just felt that neither player showed enough intent in that situation to get them to where they ideally need to be, and that's around about that 210, 2.5 mark.
Let's go deeper into that.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, you can look at that phase. You can also look at just after Rajat Patidar got out. There was a 15 ball phase without a boundary before Livingston finally got one away off Chahal. And really, I mean, while Kohli was at the wicket, his intent today wasn't quite there, to be honest, throughout his innings. You can see that reflected in the stats. Patidar and Livingston did get a few boundaries away, but I think right up until really the end, RCB weren't quite up to where you would expect with the run rate.
Yes, but also at that point, it was a rebuilding phase. They could have been a little more urgent in their rebuild. I completely agree with that. But when you lose 4 wickets for 45 in your last 4, that's just way too many. And a lot of those wickets were slot balls. Romario Shepherd was way too early. Kunal Pandya could have hit that ball easily for 6. So if you see at the back end, I thought in the 17th over, they were set up nicely for a 200, 205, 210 kind of a total. They should have gotten there. But I think if RCB loses game, it's going to be the wickets in the last 4, which hurts them. 45 for 4 is way too many. Okay, that's one phase we can look back on. But you're saying that if a batter gets an idea of the surface, he needs to make more of it. Bare numbers are Kohli 43 of 35 and the rest going a little over 150. Now, we've seen this movie before, and many times we've seen that the onus is on Kohli to make sure that he holds that one end up to give them a chance. In a final, you don't want to blow out that you've seen. So how would you balance out the construction of the innings and the pace at which it went?
Well, I think we've seen the game change and evolve over the last couple of years, particularly since the impact subs come into play. Therefore, the onus is on the top order, regardless of whether you lose a couple of wickets or not, is to lean into that pressure and take the game on. And I'm not saying you need to be swinging from the hip, but you've got to be showing more intent to find boundaries. In Kohli's innings of 43, 35 balls, there's only 3 boundaries, 3 fours. And that's batting through the power play, out of the power play. And to me, there wasn't enough evidence to show me that there was enough intent to try to find the boundary. You're only talking about, 2 or 3 more boundaries. And we've made up what we're talking about.
That's backed up by your numbers in terms of attacking shots attempted?
Yeah, I mean, apart from these 3 boundaries, we only counted about 4 other real attacking shots. You know, there was one flick which Chahal stopped at fine leg. Couple of others times he tried to force the ball on the offside, and couple of those sort of tennis shots where the ball got stuck in the pitch, but he didn't quite get a hold of those, or he even checked those shots, you might say. I think one of Kohli's issues today was he faced only 10 balls in the power play. So he didn't get much strike in the power play, and his model this season has been very much get off to that quick start, and then he's able to continue. I think in the first innings he was going about 155 in both the power play and then beyond. But today, once he didn't get those balls in the power play, he didn't find a way to then accelerate once the power play was done.
We normally also see him use his feet in that situation, and that is, you know, the Kohli we've seen over the last year or two. We didn't see any of that sort of taking the bowler on by just charging him. And it doesn't mean you have to try to hit him to the top tier of the stand, but you're showing intent to take the game on, to get the bowler off that length, and you might find it's right in the slot, and you do put it over the side screen.
Yeah, I think please.
Sorry, with RCB, they were just getting into a partnership, building it up and losing a wicket. Getting into a partnership, building it up and losing a wicket. I remember that last over of Uzi, Livingston hit him for a 6, then Kohli came on strike. That was the first real attacking shot I thought he played against Yuzi Chahal, the slog sweep. And just after that, we lost a wicket. So he was getting into a rhythm and then losing a wicket. Yeah, I think if he was at somewhere around 135, it would have been a less of a debate. But 122 could be slightly low, but it was important for them not to lose wickets as well in that run.
So outcome-oriented, the feeling of this innings, you'd think. How much pressure does that kind of innings tend to put on the other batters, or because they play that way anyway, it doesn't really?
Well, they play that way anyway, but it's unnecessary pressure that shouldn't be there. You know, Patidar, I thought, you know, did his best, you know, showing intent, hit a couple of sixes, but, you know, ultimately, what do they hit total-wise sixes? They hit, what?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think. 2, 4, no, sorry,
No,
9.
they've got 9 sixes.
Nine sixes. And... yeah, I suppose that's about average, but at that ground it's probably not average because we've had a high percentage of sixes there over the season.
I found that Omarzai matchup specifically quite interesting. Normally you'll at least target that one bowler who's potentially a weak link, and it's 13 of 10, and Omarzai is the one who's eventually got his wicket.
To be fair, he bowled pretty well today, Omarzai.
He did.
He was using sort of the into the wicket stuff, and it wasn't very easy to get away. So
Yeah, him and Vaishak bowled really well. That they assessed those conditions, took the pace off, bowled the right length with the pace off as well.
And what was really good was that they mixed their pace off with their pace on really well. And that is the difference between Omarzai and Vaishak and a Kyle Jamieson. Kyle Jamieson, he overdid his slow ball, and that's why he went for quite a few in that last over of his. But with Vaishak and Kyle, and not Kyle Jamieson, and who are we talking about?
Omarzai.
Omarzai. Vaishak and Omarzai, they really mixed up their pace off and pace on ball really well.
Strange one. Like that 23-run over almost stands out so strikingly of Jamieson. And that's where I'm trying to think, oh, was it actually that hard? Because batters were playing shots, like Jitesh has got 24 of 10 and Shepherd has got quick fire score as well. So it's still a ground where you can hit sixes. But we didn't see that as the story of the entire innings. Could you explain that? Was that one bowler just getting one over wrong?
Yeah, I thought it personally, you know, look, it's a decent total, don't get me wrong, but I just felt that RCB found themselves in a position where they were a little bit conservative, and maybe it was the occasion, that, you know, the consequences of not getting it right, the fear of, you know, losing too many wickets early and, you know, not maximising their score. To me, you can't think like that. You just need to think in a very positive mindset. What's the next ball? How am I attacking this next ball? Without being reckless, but just with the right amount of intent.
Quick one before I move to the second innings. Would you have been tempted to say Jitesh is our red-hot form player? We're not quite sure of Liam Livingston right now. Why don't we send him up?
No, I think the batting order is perfectly fine because Jitesh is best suited to come in. When he came in today, he didn't need a real promotion at that point. And at the end of the day, Livingston is there for a job and he has to do the job. Today, he had a good innings, I would say a decent innings, which at least upped the ante. I thought the partnership which put most pressure on RCB again was that Mayank and Virat partnership you're talking about.
Yeah.
And especially with the way Mayank started off, he was missing a lot of balls. He was 4 runs off 7 balls. So the pressure was more on Kohli. And generally, if you see the way they run the RCB batting unit, it's the guy on the other end who takes the high risk, and Kohli just comes in and hits those boundaries off the bat balls.
Shouldn't that? But is that a role that's fair?
I think that's a role that's fair, because you need one of your big players playing till the end.
So this is where I'm trying to think whether RCB also have said this is where we prefer this plan. Let's not be too greedy. We have a bowling attack, unlike previous seasons, that can actually defend what is even a par or slightly below par score. So if we get to 200, we're good. They lost few wickets, like Varun said, so they're 190. But do you sense that they have the bowling and they've already sort of figured out we can defend this?
I think they still had, they hadn't lost that many wickets for them to go into such a conservative pattern. They're not trusting, what they've got in the dugout. You've got Jitesh that's in red hot form. Romario Shepherd's shown his value once he gets exposed at the back end of the innings. Pandya, okay, he didn't fire tonight, but he only had a very small number of balls. So to me, I think that's a flawed thinking, thinking, we need to just get enough to be competitive. Forget the outcome. It's not about the outcome, it's about how can we maximise our total in this situation against this opposition. And I don't think they maximise that total.
Yeah, I agree with Tom totally that there was definitely in phases a lack of intent. I think you also have to give some credit to the Punjab bowlers, because the one thing they did really well today is every time they did get hit for a boundary, they always recovered. So it wasn't till I think the 16th over where they actually went for consecutive boundaries. If you look at Vaishak's, bowling innings, I think in the last game it was Jamieson, wasn't it, versus Mumbai, who had the same figures. And Vaishak today has those figures of just 30 runs in 4 overs. He bowled, I think, just about 2 or 3 balls on the pads and 1 wide off. Everything else was in this nice beehive just around off stump and outside. So it was really good lines from Vaishak through the innings.
It's good finals performance from a player who's not had a lot of game time, but Vijay Kumar Vaishak?
But Vaishak has been one of the crunch players. He's come in at different stages in the tournament at very tough times, straight off, cold off the bench, and he's done the job for them. And he comes in and does the job for them again. I thought great bowling by him today.
Bowling plan, second innings. They would have obviously watched the Mumbai Indians that day. That's a great example of what not to bowl.
Absolutely. I think Punjab have set a great template as to how to bowl. I would say RCB can easily bowl better in the power play. I thought the power play bowling by Punjab wasn't up to the mark. They could have bowled a lot better, but you can trust Bhuvi and Hazelwood to do the job with the new ball.
Type of bowling that you sense will be most effective?
Well, it was interesting, the ball swung. So particularly Bhuvaneshwar Kumar will enjoy the fact that he saw the ball swing. I agree with you with regards to the power play from Punjab's point of view. They didn't maximise that swinging ball. I don't know for the life of me why Arshdeep continues to try to swing the ball away from the right-handers, which is it's his least threatening delivery, where really that sweet spot, it's not that window's not open for that long for it to swing. Get the ball to swing back in to both Kohli and to Salt, but still, he was a bit like the previous game. Was intent just to push the ball across, and maybe that is the game plan.
Salt, those numbers that you brought up in the pre-show, they're so key. If he bats any length of time, then suddenly all these things might happen, not happen, but they still get 200. It was just another one, right? When Salt gets out early, there's a chance you can keep them.
It was a big wicket, but I'm with Tom that I think despite losing that wicket, there has to be a bit more intent, to be honest.
Okay.
In that power play and even just beyond that.
I think that's really, really heartwarming to see 2 uncapped batters walk out in a chase of an IPL final. This is what it comes down to. The final 20 overs, the key phase or the key matchup that might decide the fate of the final before I ask for predictions. Tom.
Hazelwood, and Hazelwood again. If they can manage his overs, and I'm not saying go into your shell, but deny him wickets and just do enough to, keep him out of the attack, they should win this game.
Where would you like to see Hazelwood? And same question to you as well as I asked Tom.
I think Hazelwood 2 overs towards the back end of the power play would be key. I know they're going to start with Yash and Bhuvi to maximize swing. I just have a feeling it's going to be Bhuvi's night.
Dustin?
Yeah, our producers are just telling me that Prab is only averaging 13 at this ground apparently. He's had a bit of a tough time recently, but I'm going to back Punjab to chase this.
You're going to back Punjab Kings to chase this. Varun Aaron?
RCB winning it in the last over. Nail biter.
Nail biter. Single digit score, I'm guessing. Win by 5.
Win by
7. 3. I love such final. It won't even be the closest IPL final. We had a Pune-Mumbai game decided by 1. We had a Mumbai CSK game decided by 1. Tom Moody.
Punjab bat deep. They'll need it, but they'll get over the line because they bat deep.
Oh, man. All right.
2-1. Raunak, give me the decider.
I can't.
Super over.
Come on, Raunak. You can't be on the fence.
I'll watch one ball and decide.
Oh, no.
Priyansh Arya's clipped this for 4. Punjab Kings. Punjab Kings. Oh, man. Innings well begun is job half done. Thank you very much, Tom Moody, Varun, and Dustin Silgardo. One last show coming your way, at the end of which one of RCB or Punjab Kings will be crowned champions of the IPL for the first time. Let's hope it's a good one, and we'll already start to feel for the team that doesn't make it here. But this should be a cracking finale. Let's look forward to your company on Next Up Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout as soon as it's done.
Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.